What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jerome. I'm here today with a review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, season number 11, episode 4, and this episode was titled Pass the Peach and Throw the Shade. So, without further ado, we are going to start the video. Alright, so with this episode, I'm kind of going to go out of order. I'm going to go from least important to the biggest parts of the show. So for me, the least important part of the show, I'm not gonna say least important, the stuff that didn't have a lot of, meat and bread to it was Cynthia and Eva. So I'm gonna start with Cynthia. So we have Cynthia, she is at Lake Bailey and she's on FaceTime with Mike, I believe that's his name. After 4 episodes, I still haven't learned this dude's name. But she's on FaceTime with him. She's talking about how the weather in Atlanta at that point was bad and how she's having her Bailey Q, not to be confused with a barbecue. I'm like, whatever, Cynthia. Like, I cannot, whatever. So like I said, Cynthia's on FaceTime with him, and Cynthia is very much acting like a 15-year-old girl who, okay, I'm gonna put it in better terms. Cynthia acts like a 15-year-old girl, so a girl who is like in her freshman year of high school, 14, 15 years old. And, the senior football player, the captain of the football team, is dating Cynthia. And she's acting like that. That's the vibe I get when it comes to Cynthia and Mark. And it's like, but you dated Leon. You were married to Peter. You dated Will. So I don't get why Cynthia's in this whole high school phase of her relationship. Like, I mean, it's cool. And then number two, the dude lives in a different, you guys don't even live in the same state. So I don't know what the fascination is with Cynthia and this guy, which I think I've read that Cynthia and this guy have broken up since the show even before the show started. So just looking at this, it makes Cynthia look very immature and very childish to me. And, that's all I pretty much have to say about that. Like, it makes her look like every bit of a 15-year-old girl who just got her first date. All right, so then we move over to Eva. So Eva is meeting up with her fiance, Michael, and they're at a cigar bar. And, Eva, they're talking about the wedding. And, he's asking Eva, are you even still getting married at this point? And she says yes. And, she's talking about how she's not very much one for the wedding planning, which I definitely see that. I never thought of Eva as being the type to be the frilly, girly type to, be like, oh, I want this in my wedding. I want that in my wedding. I don't want this in my wedding. I don't want that in my wedding. But I do want this. Don't want that. More of this, less of that, XYZ. Because even remembering Eva from America's Next Top Model Cycle 3, Eva was a tomboy type. So that does not surprise me one bit. So basically, when it comes down to the wedding planning, it's just her mom who's planning the wedding, because she let Michael know, this is my mom's wedding. She's just allowing us to be there. So that's kind of cute. And, then Eva is telling Michael about Nene, how she wants Nene to get up at the wedding and make a speech. I'm like, okay, I didn't know y'all were that close, but if you say so. And, she's telling Michael how she's funny. And Michael's like, I have, Richard Pryor vinyls, and he knows funny, which I agree with him. I actually agree with Michael. Richard Pryor is a comedian. Nene, however, is not a comedian. She's a person who says funny stuff on camera, but it doesn't translate into a comedian. So I definitely get where Michael's coming from, because I never thought of Nene as a comedian. I think of Nene, in her interviews, she does, her lighthearted shade and her hardcore shade, and it's always funny. So that's what I get from Nene. She says funny stuff, but to call herself a comedian, I would never call her a comedian ever, because I think a comedian is someone who studies the craft, does the grunt work, get in front of the crowd. Yes, she has gotten in front of a crowd, and yes, she has gotten booed, and yes, she has gotten heckled, but she didn't do, all the work that, comedians like Lonnie Love, Lunel, Monique, who else? Some more, all of them. She didn't do the work that they have done and put in the time and effort that they have put into their craft. So I get where Michael's coming from. She's not a comedian. All right, so next we are going to move over to Candy. So she and Todd are going to Dr. Jackie's office because they have an appointment with Dr. Jackie. Well, it's not, her appointment to, get her checkup. She's going to Dr. Jackie today because if, a lot of people read in the blogs that Candy and Todd are looking to have a surrogate for their third child. So this is basically the reason why Candy and Todd are going to Dr. Jackie today, because Dr. Jackie asked the question, are you guys pregnant? And Candy says no. And shout out to Dr. Jackie. Like, shit, Dr. Jackie is making it money this season. Like, she's doing her Married to Medicine show and she's on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, go Dr. Jackie. Like, I cannot knock Dr. Jackie's hustle. She is out there putting her practice on the map. And, kudos to Jackie. Hell, kudos to Jackie, Simone, and Heavenly, because they putting their shit out there and they are doing the damn thing. So kudos to those, shout out to them and kudos to them. So, Candy is talking about how she does not want to get pregnant because, after she had Ace, she had some fibroids. And even when she was pregnant with Ace, she had some complications with her pregnancy. But luckily enough, she had a healthy, happy baby boy. So she's not going to do the route of, her getting pregnant again because she just doesn't want to put her body through that, through all the risks that she went through the last time, which is completely understandable. So then, she's asking Dr. Jackie for her opinion about surrogacy. So Dr. Jackie is telling her, there are two options. You can have it where Todd in the surrogate mother, his sperm and her egg are, combined to one to make an embryo. Or you can have Todd, have sex with the woman. Candy was not for either option. And then she says, we still have our two embryos left. And Dr. Jackie was like, okay, so basically what it is you want to do is you want to take one of the embryos and put it into a surrogate. She said yes. And, Dr. Jackie was telling them about everything that they can do with that and how throughout the whole process, ultrasounds, they would be there. And Todd wanted to know, well, would it be uncomfortable if I touched her stomach? And Candy kind of looked at him. And I got where Todd was coming from. It's his baby. It's their baby going inside of her. And it's just like with his wife. You touch your wife's pregnant belly, but this is a surrogate. So how do you do that? Like, how do you bond with your child? I definitely that was a good question that Todd asked. And, Dr. Jackie said, well, what if Candy wants to touch the child, the stomach too? And, they went on from there. Now, the next thing was with them having the two embryos. So Dr. Jackie was like, well, what they'll probably do is they'll take one embryo and implant it in the surrogate and they'll put the other one back. And Todd was like, no, we want both of them at the same time. So she's like, you guys want two surrogates, one pregnant with one baby and another pregnant with another baby, which that would be kind of odd as hell. That would really be odd as hell. So that means the babies would be born around this. If you did that, the babies would be born around the same time, but they wouldn't be twins. So when you have a birthday party, people would be like, are they twins? And you'd be like, no, we had two different surrogates pregnant at the same time. That would be really, really odd. Then Dr. Jackie says, so possibly we could have one surrogate with twins in her, or we could have two different surrogates with babies. But Dr. Jackie did let them know that, when it comes down to the price of a surrogate, that is expensive. I did not know that surrogacy was that much money. She said anywhere from $90,000 to $100,000. I'm like, is that for the duration of the 9 to 10 months that they're pregnant, or is that just all together? Like, even still, if it's all together, $90,000 to $100,000, that is a lot of money. Like, shit, I would have to if I were in a situation like that, I would have to find a friend that'd be like, what, I need you to carry this baby need to carry this baby, so I don't have to shell out no $90,000 to $100,000 that I don't fucking have for a surrogate. Hell no. That's a lot of money. Like, like I said, I didn't know surrogacy was that much. So, they're going to think about it. And like I said, it's been in the blogs that they are going that route. So, like I said, that's a lot of fucking money. So I wonder if they're going to have one baby or if they're going to do twins. We'll see what happens in the future with Candy and Todd. All right, next I'm going to move over to Portia. So Portia, she and Dennis, they're on a date, and Dennis's mom is joining the date. So this is the first time that a girl has met Dennis's mom. I don't remember if he said how long it has been since someone has met his mom. Didn't really care, to be quite honest with you. I'm sorry to say that. So, like I said, the mom shows up and, Portia's like, I got you a gift for your birthday. And his mom was like, you got me a gift for my birthday? And she's like, yeah, I got you a gift. So Portia hands his mom the bag. And when the mama opened the bag, I'm like, wait a minute, that says Louis Vuitton. And I'm like, whoa, Portia, his dick must be really good for you to sit here and buy his mama a gift. Because ain't no way I'm finna buy somebody that I just started dating his mama a gift for her fucking birthday. I'm like, hey, bitch, Here go you a card. Got $20 in it. Happy birthday. And I wouldn't call him mama a bitch, but I'm just like, hey, you know, I know it's your birthday. We're on this fancy dinner, but I got you a card and I got you $20. And you know, you might get some smell goods. That's cheap as fuck. Just saying. But you know, then they start talking about, you know, when they told each other that they loved each other. So I'm assuming Dennis is the first one that told Portia he loved her because Portia was like, she's like, well, when was it said? And Portia was like, it was said on the first night. And I'm like, oh, okay. If that's what y'all want to do, go for it. And then the mom was like, but isn't that kind of soon? She said, so are y'all thinking about going down the aisle? And Portia's like, the wedding aisle? She says, yes. And, you know, Portia's like, the weather is nice today. She's like, don't avoid the fucking question, girl. And so Dennis says, well, you know, isn't that the purpose of dating, you know, to get to the point? And his mom agree with that, which that is the truth. The purpose of dating someone is to get to know, get to know them, to see if things progress and see if they are that one that is a fit for you to get married to. So I guess, you know, Dennis is quick on his feet. So I'm like, okay, Dennis, I kind of like you, despite Candy and her bullshit right about now. So, you know, then the mama asked about a prenup. And I'm kind of sitting here thinking to myself, like, the mama is not feeling Portia 100% because I think the mama believes that Portia is a gold digger. And I'm like, I don't quite see that because she was with Cordell, who was a former football player. And they divorced. And, you know, Portia's on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I know she makes pretty good money from Real Housewives of Atlanta. And she does Dish Nation, which I think she makes some good money from there. And she has her Go Naked hairline. So I think she makes good money from that, and she has her Go Naked lingerie, if that still exists. But I know she has a Go Naked hair. So Portia got some money. So, you know, I don't know why the mama was sitting there asking that question. Like, I don't know what your son is worth, but, you know, this girl is on a reality TV show, and the cameras are right there in front of you, right there, and there's a big boom probably hanging above your head. If you're not with a lavalier mic on you, like, you see that she is on television, so you know she has some kind of good stable income coming to her. So, you know, but Portia, you know, she said, you know, I'm okay with the prenup, and I think Dennis is okay with it, and I guess that's good enough for the mama. So, you know, I'm just like I said, I was just literally sitting there thinking, like, did this woman think that Portia is a gold digger? And I know I know most people say, oh, Portia's a hoe, Portia's a gold digger, Portia's a this and this and that. I don't really 100% believe that about Portia. I think she is dingy, but at the same time, Portia's a smart girl. So F what people say about Portia, because I love Portia and I don't give a fuck what people say about her. I love Portia. All right, so now we're gonna move over to the most awkward scene of the episode, which was with Shamari motherfucking DeVoe. So Shamari is going to look at birthday cakes for her twin boys, Ronald and Roman, who are both, I think, turning one, if I'm not mistaken. I really want to listen to Shamari. I like Shamari, but sometimes when she's talking, it's just like, you know, on Charlie Brown, when a teacher be talking, womp, 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 womp. That's what I get sometimes when I listen to Shamari talk. Hate to say it, but that's what I get. So, you know, she's actually shopping with her mother-in-law, who she lets us know that at one point in time, she and her mother-in-law didn't have a good relationship with each other because her mother-in-law thought she was a gold digger and out to get Ronnie. I'm like, okay, I would not have thought that, but if you say so. So then her mother-in-law said something to her that kind of threw me for a loop when her mother-in-law said, you know, as a woman, you should have come to me and had a conversation with me. And I'm like, had a conversation with you about what exactly? Her marrying your son, her dating your son, what? Like, Ronnie is a grown-ass man. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, let Ronnie off the tit. Literally. Like, I didn't understand what her mother-in-law was saying. So, and I get it. His mom was overprotective of him, but at some point you got to let him go. Ronnie is what? If he's not 50, he's close to 50. Like, let that motherfucker off the tit, please. So, you know, Shamari did tell her that at one point they were on the brink of divorce, and she was like, why? Because of the other women? She said, yes, because of the other women. And then in a strange change of events, Shamari says that you do know that at one point we had an open marriage. I'm like, is this something that you really want to tell your mother-in-law, that you and your husband had an open marriage? Like, okay, if the woman didn't like you before, like, what do you think she feels about you now, knowing that you had an open marriage with your husband, talking about, other women were throwing themselves at Ronnie? I'm like, what other women? Like, okay, if you say so, I'm not going to argue with you about that, but if you say so, Shamari. But I still found it quite odd that she sat there and told her mother-in-law that her and Ronnie had an open relationship. And I don't judge people who have an open relationship, because I can't say that it's not for me or wouldn't be for me. I don't judge nobody who do it. If it works for you, it works for you. It does. Some people say it works for them. Other people wouldn't do it for, all the money in the world. So whatever works for you, works for you. But I would not have said it in front of my mother-in-law. That would have been the last person I'm going to sit here and tell that I had an open relationship with my husband or my wife. Like, what? All right, so next we move over to the Bailey Q. And when I looked at that shit, it said day one of the Bailey Q. I'm like, Cynthia knows how to take a dead horse and bludgeon that motherfucker till it is bloody, battered, and bruised in the street. Like, day one. So, we have Cynthia getting ready for it, and then Nene and Marlo show up. And, they go outside and they're having a conversation. Also, Mallory is there as well. So they're having a conversation, and, Nene is talking about Eva's wedding and how Eva asked her to be a part of the wedding. Now, speaking at the wedding and being a part of the wedding, those are two different things, Nene. Love you, but those are two totally different things. I think she asked you to speak at her wedding, not be in her wedding, but semantics. So, then Marlo has, her little 2 cents to chime in and says, well, you being there, that would liven up the wedding a little bit. And I'm like, Marlo, what has Eva done to you for you to be shading her? Like, I was confused. And then, Cynthia's talking about, how she heard around that Eva was saying that, Cynthia paid Will to date her. And Nene was like, you paid him to date you? She said, I know Cynthia, and Cynthia is cheap. And then Marlo was like, well, that is kind of the word going around that, you did do that. But she lets it be known that she did not pay him. So then we have Candy. She shows up with Karma, as Mama Joyce calls her. This time she's there with some food instead of the bag of bullshit that she got about Portia and Dennis. So then we also meet this new girl. Her name is Tanya. And, Nene knows her from her her boutique that she has. And, she's in the IT and stuff like that. And then we see Portia. She is on her way there with Shamia and with her sister Lauren. So while they're in the car, they go through Shamia's purse, who was pregnant at the time. She's still pregnant now, I think. When is Shamia due, by the way? How far is she and Portia apart from being, their babies? That's neither here nor there. So, they go through her bag and they find a pickle from Jason's Deli in there. And, Portia wants to eat the pickle. And I'm like, of course she wants to eat that pickle because you're pregnant as well. Like, you can't tell me Portia was not pregnant at this time of filming. So, they start talking about the pickle. And, Shamia eats it. And then Portia goes and gets the other half of it and eats it. So, on their way there, Portia is telling Shamia about the conversation that they had with Eva at the Black event. And speaking of that, a lot of people last week were going off on Eva about that, whole Shamia being black without the Q thing. And I didn't think that I didn't think that Eva was saying anything about Shamia's skin tone. If you guys listen to it, Portia mentioned it, to be honest with you. Portia says Shamia is black. And, she said, yeah, she's black without the Q. Because what Eva was saying was black is cool, black is snatched and stuff like that. She was talking about Shamari, not so when she was saying black is snatched, black is this and this and that, she was talking about Shamari. She never called her Shamari. She kept referring to her as black, the name of her group. And then Portia said that Shamia is black. These Shamari and Shamia, these are gonna trip me up this whole season. I'm gonna have to get those two together. But like I said, she was talking about Shamari, and Portia said that Shamia is black, and she said yes, she is black, but she's black without the Q, Q-U-E, B-L-A-Q-U-E, the name of the group. So for everybody getting in their feelings last week because of what Candy said, Candy was sitting right there. I don't know how she did not hear exactly what Eva said, but then in her interview, she was talking about she hoped that she wasn't talking about her skin tone. She was not talking about her skin tone. She was talking about Shamari's group, black. So and then Eva did even tweet about that Candy got it all mixed up, that she was not talking about her skin. So like I said, Portia's telling her about this conversation where Eva was talking about Shamia being messy and how they thought that they had got past the stuff at the Love and Light thing in Barcelona last season. But Portia's just telling Shamia to have a conversation with Eva. So I guess she's gonna have a conversation with Eva. And so Shamari, she shows up to the party and she asked them what they thought of her performance. And I think everybody pretty much said that they liked her performance. And then Marla was like she would have loved to have seen a performance. And they told her to perform right there. And then Candy remembers Ronnie telling her about placement, so she said, I'm not gonna do nothing. So then they play a game of Pass the Peach. So the whole thing of the game is whoever holding the peach, they have a question they pull. They read the question. If they don't want to answer the question, they will pass the peach to the person that they think the question should be answered by. So that's the object of the game. So the first question was, who needs a makeover? And I think Nene had that question, and she gave it to Portia, and then Portia threw it over to Eva. And I don't really think Eva answered the question like 100%. I think she kind of went around the question saying that she could give all those all of them a style makeover because she is a model. And I was about to do an air quote, but she is a model. So then Portia does a Who Wore Better edition with Shamari and Candy. And basically Candy wore better because I don't know what the crop top bustier was that Shamari had on, because it was a hot ass mess. And then her makeup was like, her makeup looked blotchy and pale to me. So then we move over to Marla, who has a question about who is the biggest liar. She says in the past she would have said Portia, but now she's going to say Eva. And then Eva's like, well, wait a minute, why do you say Eva? And Marla's basically like, because we don't know very much about you. And I'm like, so that makes her a liar because you don't know that much about her? Like, okay, Marla, you are always one for the bullshit, but I don't understand that. I didn't really understand how that made her fake because y'all don't know much about her. That just means y'all don't know much about the girl. That doesn't mean she's a liar. And, Eva says, well, I've known you for years. And Marla's like, well, you know me through passing, and I've always been fabulous. And that's Marlo's whole thing is, the glitz, the glamour, the name brands. And she had like a bitch who never had anything. Like, she had like a new nigga with money who's never had anything a day in their life. And, Eva tells her that she's, extra, she's extra for no reason most times, which that is 100% true. She is extra sometimes for absolutely no reason. So then, Candy mentions Eva shading Shamia. And, she's shading Shamia and also fixing her a plate there. So, Eva does say, hey, I did say it. When Cynthia invited us all here for this Bailey Q, I did ask Portia, which of your friends are you bringing here? And, they talk about everything that happened between her and Shamia. How that, Shamia was like, how I thought we left it in Barcelona. And, she was like, but it came back with us from Barcelona. People kept asking questions. You kept answering it. But eventually they moved on from that. I'm like, oh my God, let's not talk about this again. So then, Cynthia brings up the fact of Eva saying that she paid Will to date her. And Eva said, everything that she said was true. Talking about the whole girl that he went on a date with. But as far as her, Cynthia paying him to date her, that's something she doesn't know about. So then they ask the question of, Candy gets the question of who is the freakiest, and she says it is that one right there, although she tries to hide it, talking about Portia. And Portia Portia says she is freaky, but she's never done backdooring. And Candace like, you told me you tried it once before. And, Portia's like, no, I told you I did try it, but it didn't quite work out, the way that it was supposed to. So, no, didn't do it. So, then, let's see, where am I at? Some of my notes. Oh, so they asked the question of who's been in an open, raise your hands, who's been in an open relationship. Well, Shamari hops her ass up and holds her hands up that she's been in an open, relationship. Now, they asked her when it came to her open relationship, were there limits? She says, no, there were no limits. But then she says, well, I couldn't be with another man. And they were like, what? So he could be with other women, but you couldn't be with another man? And basically, that's pretty much how it works with most men in marriages with women. They don't want their wives to be with another man, but they are okay with them being with another woman. Kind of a double standard, but that's not my business. But that was the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys all tomorrow for a brand new season of Love and Hip Hop New York. I'm actually kind of looking forward to Love and Hip Hop New York because I got a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow. See you then.